welcome to Filmfolket's podcast. We that speaks today is Göran,
Johannes,
Daniel,
and Björn.
Today's movie is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The movie in brief.
Robin of Locksley escapes captivity in Jerusalem alongside Asim, a Moor, promising a dying Peter Dubois to look after his sister Marian. After reaching English soil, Robin learns that the Sheriff of Nottingham has executed his father on false charges of devil worship and burned his castle. Soon finding himself an outlaw, Robin must rally the people against the evil sheriff before he can realize his plot to seize the throne.
That is a good summary. And it begins quite brutal in the first scene when we see that they're capturing the Jerusalem. We just see that one person, they're gonna lose one arm. You see their arm and then you hear a scream. And I think it's a good way to set the scene instead of showing too much gore. And also, I think the ones that I think are doing their performance the best is probably Morgan Freeman and Alan Rickman in their characters.
Well, it was a little hard to see in the start of the movie. It is very dark and very poorly lit up. Well, it makes sense, but we are watching on a projector, so it was kind of hard to see any details. We heard names and we saw the people and we heard the torture. But I couldn't really see the faces, so I was a little confused who was talking to who in the beginning.
The lighting in this prison scene isn't very good, but it is what it is.
it wasn't as cheesy as I remembered it was. So I was surprised. And I think it's a good blend of action and a bit of comedy and drama. The pacing felt good as well, for the most part. And I agree, Rickman does an incredible job as the villain. Sean Connery, of course, did his best. He had a lot to say in this movie.
He's actually uncredited.
Yeah, I noticed that. His name wasn't in there.
I think he actually showed up for about $250,000 as just a thing and donated the money to charity.
Oh, that's cool. Very generous man.
Yeah, when it comes to both Alan Rickman and Morgan Freeman, I think Alan really does the job with performing the lines that is very sinister and have a weird sense of humor when he's gonna cut a person with a spoon, for example, and also he really screams and gives a good vision of Sheriff of Nottingham. And also Morgan Freeman has his lines of humor when he performs his character. And I don't think I've seen any bad movies per se that he's been in, or maybe like the script has been, but I think it's a good actor.
It's about these characters. I think it's very interesting how Alan Rickman approaches his role. He actually turned that down twice, but eventually agreed to play the part because he was given a lot of freedom to interpret the role and basically act out the way he wanted to, and he made it a very strange person. He's a very he takes the edge off otherwise very dark scenes by being really weirdly funny, and a lot of that is down to him ad-libbing scenes and basically making a lot of things up on the fly. Like when he cancels Christmas, that was absolutely his own idea and so hysterically funny they kept it in. As for Asim, then I think it's very interesting to see such a positive portrayal of a Muslim in a movie from 1991. He's shown very respectfully, and his character is also respected. Stylistically, the movie borrowed a lot from the 1980s TV series Robin of Sherwood, and it was actually so extensive that they were urged to sue but decided against it. Mostly having to do with the way different themes are set up and characters and that kind of a thing. This interpretation of the Robin Hood story has a lot more to do with Ivanhoe than it does the original tale, so to speak.
Especially with the witch. That was very Ivanhoe for some reason.
Yes, it's kind of funny how you have this thing where Robin's father, played by Brian Blessed, is accused of witchcraft and all of that, and then you have the sheriff, who's basically a devil worshipper. So I guess he knows what to accuse him.
Projection much.
Well, he paid off the priest, the high priest or something, in that region, so of course he can get away with it.
Oh, I hate that corrupt priest so much.
Yeah. He got what he deserved.
It's good writing that you make a character that you really dislike.
Certainly.
I mean, I like the movie music, especially when it sets the mood. Even when a person gets hit, you hear like the string like go with the music, and that's a funny detail in the movie. And I think sound effects are also good when it comes to when they're using bows, for example, so an explosion. So it's very thought out.
Appropriately enough, there is a lot of archery. What it said that Michael Kamen's overture, the intro music, was later used by the movie production company Morgan Creek as their logo fanfare. So if you've watched other movies by that company, you've also heard that. And it has also been used by Disney in maybe not their own movies, but in promotional videos and the like. Which is weird because they really don't have the right to do that.
It's Disney. They can do whatever they want.
Kneel before the mouse.
I was wondering what could have been done differently, and other thoughts.
Well, just music-wise, I wanted to say that Bryan Adams' song, Everything I Do, was made specifically for this movie, and it was based on Michael Kamen's love theme that's used in variants for the more romantic scenes. I might have done differently, I guess. Well, they could have used a British actor for Robin Hood. And maybe a North African guy for Asim. But, I mean, did all right, I guess. There are a few scenes near the end where you can very clearly see that the supposed stained glass windows that they jump and fall through are basically made of paper. Maybe a budget thing, but maybe not. In the intro, they call the people that the Crusaders are fighting Turks, and that really isn't right, because at the time the area around Jerusalem and the like was ruled by the Ayyubids, basically a Kurdish dynasty under Saladin.
Like we mentioned before, the lighting in the first part of the movie, they could have done a better job with that. And there's some other parts in the movie where it is very dark, very hard to see. I think they could have experiment a little more with lighting.
Then again, for the era, you didn't really have much natural light at all in these kind of passages, so it makes some sense. And in the beginning of the movie, it was a torture chamber more or less, so it makes sense that it's dark, damp, and miserable for the captured people. But still, it was very hard to see any detail on the people. And generally, yeah, who was Robin? Who was this new character they took with them, and who was the people they left behind? It was hard to tell who was who and what was happening really at the start. But I agree with you, some scenes could have had some more work when it came to the lighting.
Yeah, it's not like I want it to be very bright, but a little more detail in people's faces and stuff. It was way too dark.
Yeah.
They could have done a little better.
These things are usually remedied by directional lighting, so that the room that is supposed to be dark is not really dark, but it kind of gives the illusion. And I think they just went with the natural lighting, and it came with its own perils. It was also kind of problematic there how all the prisoners were basically looking alike. Everyone dressed in rags, and everyone has their hair and beard grown out. So you really can't tell them apart. One thing that really could have been done differently is that the iconic tree by the wall was the sycamore gap tree at Hadrian's Wall, sadly cut down in 2023 by drunken vandals.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about that.
But it's nice that it's been captured in film at least. You also had this thing about Robin having a brother, and it's a storyline that doesn't really go anywhere. It's revealed far too late in the movie to be of consequence, and then they don't really do anything with it. I think that's peculiar because the movie is already pretty long, so if they wanted to squeeze something in there in a few minutes, they really could.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I was wondering why didn't that lead to anything? It was very short, listen, I'm your brother, and very short scene about that and nothing more about it. Kind of a waste. They could have just skipped that whole scene. Never mentioned that they had a brother.
Thematically, I guess it's supposed to explain why that guy has been, I don't know, hostile all this time. But, I mean, okay, so you resolved that issue, but now you have an even bigger thing to work with.
Yeah, after the brother got captured and out of commission, when he practically got not hanged but almost decapitated. Yeah, well, he got freed, so they could have at least put him in somewhere to show that he was doing something. After that, we kind of didn't see him at all, or kind of forgot about him even being a plotline throughout the last part of the movie. At least couldn't see him in the last scene, so we know that they made up, they could start trust each other and build from there. I don't know.
I think it would have been a good idea to have him like save Robin or something in the final fight somewhere. It wouldn't have been that much longer of a movie. Just give him a scene where he saves him. return the favor, like showing that he trusts him now and he wants to protect his brother.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't really take a lot to include that kind of a thing. Doesn't even take a minute.
Considering how late they introduced that he was the brother. So they could have done it way earlier.
I have an idea for maybe later on, since we've been seeing this one, and just to see like a comparison to it, Robin Hood with Russell Crowe.
Why not? I have it.
What about Men in Tights?
Yes, I was going to say that.
We can see that too, but I mean, and also we have if you can find like Page Master in some ways.
I'm still working on that one. But Men in Tights, it's basically a parody of this movie, so it might be fun.
Well, I wish you all goodbye for this time, and don't forget to watch, like, and subscribe, and follow our social. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.